Well, Batman Day is coming up, so what a perfect time to make this list. Okay, here we go. You want to know what the top 10 greatest Batman comic books are? This ain't your parents' Batman comic list, so let's get into it. You're not going to see some of your favorites on here, I'll say that. Number 10, The Bat. The Bat is a series of bootleg Batman comics using royalty-free version of Batman characters by Josh Simmons. Main ones being Twilight of the Bat, about a gay Batman and Joker at the end of the world, and Mark of the Bat, where Batman is just a pathetic loser. Simmons is a dark, gory surrealist who just decided to do his own gross Batman stories in his comic anthologies. They're very fucking weird, very well drawn. If you don't like the underground comics and that Crumb-inspired style, you probably won't like these that much, but I think they're pretty funny. I think they're pretty fun. Number 9, Batman 2 of a Kind. 2 of a Kind is a story from Bruce Timm's issue of Batman Black and White. Despite being only 8 pages, it tells a more impactful story than most comics released in the past decade, detailing the story of Two-Face, now with his face fixed, falling in love with a woman and her twin sister. It's told like a classic noir, a man reborn, thought pure, falling to his own lust. Both women representing the sides of himself, the pure and the impure. Spoilers for an 8-page story, but the sister kills the other, spiraling Harvey Dent to scar his face again and return to his true form. A form with enough will to take revenge, ending with the most noir ending to a Batman comic I can think of. Two-Face is my favorite Batman villain, if you didn't know. So I like this little story a lot. Number 8, Batman Haunted Night. While Loeb Sale's other Bat works such as Long Halloween and Dark Victory and When in Rome get the most attention, I feel more analysis should be given to their first ventures. Haunted Night consists of 3 Halloween specials for Batman with the creative duo, telling 3 great stories exploring the character, one focusing on the Scarecrow and Batman's fear of being in a relationship with someone and it harming them, one focused on Mad Hatter and a young Barbara Gordon as Jim Gordon's newly adopted niece, and the last one, Ghosts, serving as a sort of a Halloween Christmas carol with Batman. There's some great moments throughout these, my favorite being in the second story in just the first page. We're introduced to both Jim and Barbara in a style similar to Batman Year One. Barbara writing about her frustration living with Jim Gordon on the first row of panels. Second row of panels have Jim's frustrations adopting Barbara and doubting himself and asking why he even did it. And the third row has the two collide with a profile of Barbara Gordon with the lines from Jim, "Then I see her smile and I remember why." It's beautiful. I don't fall for anti-Loeb Sale propaganda. Number 7, Batman Thrillkiller and Thrillkiller 62. In 1997, man of the medium Howard Chaykin and Daniel Brereton teamed up to make a crime noir bizarre Bat book that sends up pulp magazines, noir films, and 60s Hollywood. Bruce Wayne is a Batman and he's just a private detective, while the first Bat vigilante is Barbara Gordon's Batgirl and her gun-toting lover Robin. Joker is a butch femme fatale, Roy Harper's a greaser, Black Canary's a lounge singer, and Howard Chaykin considers the release of Dr. No to be as significant a historical event as John Glenn in space. He's right, by the way. It's a very stream of consciousness version of Batman, the Bat mythos. It's very much an analysis of the loss of youth and the change from the idyllic 50s to the violent 60s. But it's also Howard Chaykin doing Chaykin stuff. It's great. Make sure to read both installments, but they're great. Number 6, Batman the Spirit. From Jeff Loeb and the late great Darwin Cook, we see the ultimate crossover between Batman and my boy the Spirit. If you haven't read any of Eisner's incredible Spirit strips, you're missing out on the backbone of comics. So many great one-off stories through Central City written by a master. The Spirit never crossed over with any other comic characters, so it's a big deal to see these two side by side. It captures the tone of those original newspaper stories very well, along with the Silver Age Batman. Cook was a master. After this comic, he'd reboot the Spirit disconnected from this. I have my assumption that this is technically part of the New Frontier universe, even though a time period is never stated. It's a love letter to the Spirit as much as it is a love letter to the Caped Crusader, so go read it. It's only 40 pages.
I don't want to see characters getting raped in the...
Number 5, Arkham City, The Order of the World by Dan Watters. This is a more recent comic, Elseworlds, but can very easily be slipped into continuity with a little New 52ing. Dan Watters and Greek artist Danny give a beautifully gothic dark comedy, primarily using reinvented versions of Z-tier Batman villains like Dr. No-Face, March Hare, and the Ten-Eyed Man. Ten-Eyed Man is the real star of the show, a bizarre creature with 10 eyes on the tips of his fingers who can see through the world. The comic is a mystery featuring him and former Arkham employee Dr. Joy as this buddy cop duo. It is an entrancing read, and how Waters plays with Gotham and its wacky characters is more creative than most Batman reimaginings. It seems like most DC writers like to take these characters and ground them as much as possible, getting the horror out of reality being forced upon them, or more commonly making Batman's world boring. For example, the mediocre book Batman the Imposter came out around the same time as Arkham City. And I think this book succeeds where that book fails in creating a interesting Gotham and interesting world, while Waters and Danny bring out the more fantastical and cartoony to create a great horror story. It's one of my favorite recent graphic novels to be released. No, it has nothing to do with the video game Arkham City. Number 4, Batman the Big Burn. From the pages of Tomasi and Gleason's Batman run, slammed right in the middle of it is an arc about New 52's version of Two-Face. Previously One-Face, but that's another topic. Heavily inspired by Punisher Max and previous entry Two of a Kind, Tomasi gives us the ultimate Batman versus Two-Face story. In the New 52 universe, Harvey was scarred by two twins who also killed his wife Gilda Dent. While one of the twins is out, and Two-Face is on a warpath. It's a great story about grief, suicide, and the choice between darkness and life. This is possibly the purest representation of Two-Face, at least in personality and philosophy, you'll find out there. You can read this completely on its own, and it really does feel epic. There's so many references and homages littered throughout these 5 issues that they don't feel like, hey, remember the Killing Joke, but an encapsulation of Gotham. This was the first New 52 comic to confirm that Hitman was still canon. There are 3 pages at the end that I think about every day. You know what I'm talking about when you get to them. Did I mention Two-Face is my favorite Batman villain? Number 3, Batman Year 2, the unfairly maligned sequel to Frank Miller's masterpiece Batman Year 1. Year 2 is seemingly hated for its dark insanity. The villain is a new villain called the Reaper. Batman uses the gun that killed his parents and teams up with Joe Chill to hunt the villain down. Also, Todd McFarlane does most of the art. It's a moody, down-in-the-dirt book. A lot of the dialogue could be considered corny, but I love it. It's so small scale for a Batman comic. It feels even more 70s film-inspired than Year 1. It's just Batman and a thug hunting a serial killer. What makes Year 2 interesting to me is that it's one of the few comics that actually explore why Batman doesn't use guns and why he doesn't kill. By having the story about Bruce feeling he's being pushed to avenge his parents with the gun that killed them, to the point where he almost does it. It shows how he's already a killer in his mind, and if he ever let himself break down, he'd become a true monster, worse than ones on the street, and how rejecting that urge to kill makes him human and makes him a good man. Also, the covers for this are the coolest shit in the world. Like, look at him. Number 2, Batman Creature of the Night, a spiritual sequel to Busiek's previous book Superman's Secret Identity. Creature of the Night follows Bruce Wainwright, a young boy obsessed with Batman since his life mirrors Batman in many ways, unfortunately including the fact his parents get murdered. When I heard about Busiek doing a Secret Identity take on Batman, I assumed a kick-ass like story where a kid dresses up as Batman to get revenge. That's not it. It's much more interesting than that, as a ghostly bat creature appears helping Bruce throughout his life in fighting crime. John Paul Leon does the art, obviously taking from Batman Year 1 and many aesthetic choices. He gives the book a real grounded atmosphere. The Creature of the Night is rendered so horrifying, like how the Mothman was described by the original witnesses. Not a concrete creature, a vague monster of the darkness resembling Batman or more as the book goes on. I don't want to spoil many of the reveals, but it's one of Busiek's finest works. Number 1, Batman Dark Knight Strikes Again. Frank Miller's gonzo masterpiece. For years as a kid, I considered it to be the worst comic ever made, until I reread it this year, and my opinion changed. I used to despise its very ugly digital art style, its bizarre takes on DC's roster, and just the utter crudeness of it all. Now that's what I like about it. It's a little disingenuous to call this only a Batman comic because it's about the whole DC universe. I think Superman actually has more panel time than Batman. The book looks gorgeous in a very abstract way. I don't think I would like this book as much without Lynn Varley's digital coloring. It's also one of the funniest comics I've ever read. I quote Mr. Let's Privatize the Fire Department all the time. It's Miller pushing his politics, his love of the silver and golden age of comics, and everything in between to its limits, and most people just rejected it. Though now I've seen more and more people come around to this book, like this year even. In this comic, Miller shows a genuine love to Superman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and sees them as superior to the edgy generation he inspired. The Joker being the ultimate representation of what superheroes became in the turn of the century, a violent psychopath with no morality versus the heroes that inspired generations. Frank Miller also emphasizes Batman's love of life. This is the closest Miller's Batman had returned to the Year 1 incarnation of joyful playful adventurism. One of my favorite panels is Bruce with his mask off, grimacing, saying, "Don't let them know how much fun you're having." The book is simultaneously a hateful rant to the present, love letter to the past, while having a message to embrace the future, the youth in all of us, and make the world better. For that reason, I do think it is a great comic worthy of being in the Bat canon. Even Grant Morrison, who wrote Arkham Asylum, Batman R.I.P., Gothic, and Batman Inc., says it's a great comic.
I just reread Dark Knight Strikes Again.
I think that's a great book. And it's not Dark Knight levels of great, but it's just a really good Miller trying to do something different, you know, not repeating himself and people getting it wrong. And he wanted to do comics the way they used to be done, just whatever comes into your head, bang it on the page. And it seemed like, I know nothing about Frank, but it just seemed like cocaine comics to me.
Yes.
Just like, whoa, go for it. This is great. Give me more colours. But it really worked in the fact that 9/11 comes banging right in the middle of that book, and clearly he didn't know anything like that was going to happen, and suddenly, boom, 9/11. And you can see him dealing with it. Where suddenly this kind of this Silver Age romp turns into something else. I think it's a really good book. I think it's that people haven't caught up with it because a lot of the critics...
Maybe it's too ahead of the curve?
Yeah, it's not adolescent, it's adult.
Anyway, I don't have much time left. I guess, what are your favorite Batman comics? And tell me why I'm wrong. While I fucking hate Batman, I still enjoy many of the books with the character. It's just, he's the most oversaturated fictional character, I feel, especially in comic books. So what's the point?
3 million.
4 million.
7 million. Never leave the cave without it.
A Bat credit card? They gave him a Bat credit card? They had the balls to give one of the greatest superheroes of all time a Bat credit card? No! Does not compute! I apologize for that outrage. It was childish and immature. I just get a little peeved when I see one of my childhood icons carrying a Bat credit card, you bastards! I'll kill you! I'll kill all of you! All of you will die! You'll get the gas! Rape my childhood, will you? You'll all die!